Okay, so this is the first video in my liver series, and I'm going to go over pretty much the liver and gallbladder cleanse that I did a couple of years ago. Now, it's with this cleanse that I actually voided hundreds of gallstones. It was a pretty intense experience, and I found out later that the cleanse itself came primarily from this book, The Liver and Gallbladder Miracle Cleanse by Andreas Moritz. So I recommend you pick this book up. I pretty much grabbed this cleanse right from his book and put it up here. So I recommend you pick this up and take a look at it. Maybe you can get it from your library if you don't feel like buying it. Alright, so I'm going to go through the cleanse. I'm going to go right to left this time. The prep work for the gallbladder cleanse is actually on the right, and the cleanse itself is on the left. So this is the 6th and 7th day. Okay, we'll start with the prep on the right side here. And again, this is the liver and gallbladder cleanse, and I actually did this and I voided hundreds of gallstones. I couldn't believe it. So for the first 6 days, you're to drink about 32 ounces of apple juice for the first 6 days. Now, apple juice is high in malic acid, and what malic acid does is it helps soften the gallstones and it helps widen the bile duct. And on the 3rd day, between the 3rd and the 6th day, Andreas recommends that you give yourself an enema to help clear out your colon. And he recommends that you actually do this on the 6th day. So if you can give yourself an enema on the day of the cleanse itself, I didn't do that. And actually, another variation from the cleanse that I did, mine was drinking apple juice for 14 days. And about going into the 2nd week of drinking apple juice, I had 3 glasses of apple juice a day. My digestive system was so negatively impacted by the apple juice that I actually ordered ox bile, and it's the ox bile that relieved all the bloating and all the constipation, and it reduced a lot of the symptoms. And in fact, I started voiding gallstones before the actual cleanse just by drinking all that orange juice. So if you are going to do a cleanse like this, I recommend you kind of analyze how healthy you think your liver is and maybe look into getting ox bile or some other gallbladder support pill if you can, because just drinking this much apple juice for this amount of time may actually cause issues. If you have stones, they might not soften enough and get stuck in the duct, and that's what I believe happened to me. That's why I had so many negative symptoms when just drinking the apple juice. So I took some ox bile and I actually started voiding stones before the cleanse. They showed up in my stool. It was like rhinestone, these like black seeds were in my stool, like they were like throughout my entire stool. And I think it's bilirubin, which is a pigment that is from red blood cells. And those stones, I read, are not as malleable, so they're pretty rigid. So that could have been the issue. So anyways, I took the apple juice for 14 days instead of 6, had complications. Thank God I had some ox bile that I picked up, and it really helped correct the issue. And again, I did not give myself an enema prior to the actual cleanse itself. Okay, so on the 6th day, you drink your 32 ounces of apple juice in the morning, and then you have a light breakfast of oatmeal. And it's important on the 6th day not to have protein, butter, or oil because it can interfere with the cleanse itself. And then for lunch, it's recommended to have steamed vegetables with white rice. This is white rice. Andreas recommends white rice for lunch. No eating after 1:30. So you're going to start, I guess, a fast at about 1:30 in this cleanse. And again, no protein, butter, or oil on the 6th day. So that's the prep. Those first 6 days are the prep to the actual cleanse itself. Okay, so for the cleanse itself, and this also happens on the 6th day, you want to mix 4 tablespoons of Epsom salt with 24 ounces of distilled water and divide that into 4 6-ounce portions throughout the rest of this, throughout the cleanse. Okay, so again, you start fasting at 1:30. You, just before 6 o'clock, I imagine, you would probably want to make 4 tablespoons of Epsom salt solution, mix it with 24 ounces of distilled water, and then at that point, at 6 p.m., drink your first 6 ounces of the Epsom salt solution. And again, you're fasting, and then at 8 o'clock, drink the second 6 ounces of the Epsom salt solution. Now, Andreas, I'm just following his outline. If you have not had a bowel movement at this point on the 6th day, he recommends giving yourself an enema. Again, I did not do an enema for this, and I still had success. But nevertheless, not to understate the importance of keeping your bowels clean and ready for this, detox. So if you can, give yourself an enema if you haven't had a bowel movement. Okay, so this is really where it gets detail oriented. Okay, so at about 9:45 or 10, you should at this point already be ready for bed. There should be no outstanding routine issues. You should just be ready for bed at this point, because after you drink this citrus juice with olive oil, you're to lie down immediately for the night. So again, this happens at between 9:45 and 10, and you mix 3/4 of a glass of citrus juice. So it's grapefruit juice, orange juice, or lemon juice. And a glass, I imagine he means about a cup, so 8 ounces. So 3/4, about 6 ounces of juice, and then a half a glass, or 4 ounces, I would imagine, of olive oil. And mix that extremely well. Now put that on your nightstand, and when you're ready for bed, between, again, 9:45 and 10, you drink it right before bed. And after you drink that, immediately lie down for the evening. Lie down flat on your back with your head up on a pillow, so your head is higher than the rest of your body. When I did the cleanse, I lied down on my right side with my knees pulled up toward my head. And you lie still for as long as you can. So that, after I did that, I actually could feel the juice, or the juice and oil actually go into my liver and start kind of moving around my liver. And I couldn't really describe it, but I could definitely feel it moving through my liver. And again, I lied on my right side because the liver is on the right side, so gravity is going to help the olive oil juice get to where it needs to go for this. And he recommends just lying still for 20 minutes and let the process let the process work without any interruption. At any rate, you're going to be in bed for the rest of the night at that point. And then on the 7th day, no earlier than 6 a.m. Now, if you wake up really thirsty, you can have a little bit of warm water at this point, but not after you drink your next Epsom salt solution after 6, between 6 and 6:30. You drink your next Epsom salt solution. And again, if you wake up and you're thirsty, have a little bit of warm water before the Epsom salt solution. And then again, at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're going to drink the last of your Epsom salt solution. Now, you should obviously be near a toilet throughout this whole process, and I would seriously recommend that you find 2 days in a row that you can kind of do this, because you'll need a little bit of a recovery day on the 7th day for this. So off work days for sure. And then at about 10 a.m. he recommends you have some pressed fruit, 10:30 fresh fruit, and then at about 11:30 you can just resume your regular diet, but keep it light. And then in the evening you should be feeling better, and you'll be able to resume your normal eating habits at that point. But again, try to keep the diet light for 2 to 3 days after the cleanse. So that's pretty much the cleanse. You can, during the fasting periods, drink water when you want to, except right after the Epsom salt drink and right after the citrus oil. But again, you're going to be drinking the citrus oil right as you're going to bed anyway. So that's Andreas Moritz liver and gallbladder cleanse. I did a variation of this and it works. So if you're having any liver or gallbladder issues, I recommend you look into doing something like this, and it really does work. So that's part one of the liver.